Babylon girl, Babylon girl. Para todos aquellos amores que fueron obligados a ser separados. Babylon girl, Babylon girl. Esta canción es para ti. Dime cómo le explico a mi destino que ya no estás ahí. Dime cómo haré para desprenderme de este frenesí. Esta locura que siento por ti, con esta química que haces en mí. Y ya no puedo, girl, ya no puedo, girl. Nena, discúlpame si te ilusioné, yo no lo quise hacer. Sé que en el amor cuando es real se vuelve. Pero cómo olvidar tu piel y cómo olvidarte, mujer. Ya no puedo, girl, ya no puedo, girl. Baby, no, baby, no. Me rehúso a darte un último beso, así que guárdalo, guárdalo. Para que la próxima vez te lo dé haciéndolo, haciéndotelo así, así, así. Así como te gusta, baby. Sin mirar atrás, sin buscar a nadie más, solo quiero estar contigo. Si no te tengo aquí conmigo, yo no quiero ser tu amigo porque tú eres mi camino. Y yo solo quiero estar junto a ti, nena, por favor entiéndelo. Solo dame tu mano y confía en mí. Si te pierdes, solo sigue mi voz. Y dale tiempo, mami, al tiempo. Que tú, que yo, pues estamos hechos para estar los dos. Y dale tiempo, baby, al tiempo. Que tú y yo, estamos hechos para estar los dos. Baby, no, me rehúso a darte un último beso, así que guárdalo, para que la próxima vez te lo dé haciéndolo, haciéndotelo así, así, así. Así como te gusta, baby. Baby, no, me rehúso a darte un último beso, así que guárdalo, para que la próxima vez te lo dé haciéndolo, haciéndotelo así, así, así. Así como te gusta, baby. Así, así, así como te gusta, baby. Baby, no, me rehúso a darte un último beso, así que guárdalo, para que la próxima vez te lo dé haciéndolo, haciéndotelo así, así, así. Así como te gusta, baby. Y baby, no, me rehúso a darte un último beso, así que guárdalo, para que la próxima vez te lo dé haciéndolo, haciéndotelo así, así. Así como te gusta, baby.
Es que con tu piel me envuelves como serpiente, veneno que no me mata, veneno que me hace fuerte.
Ay, nena, bésame. No me hizo si me tocas, envenéname la boca. Ay, dale, bésame. Sabes que te tengo loca.
Muérdeme una y otra vez, te quiero probar también. Yeah, dale, quítame el estrés, sé lo que quieres ser, sé una Barbie girl.
Por tu mar me vienes navegando, tu nombre se lo puse a mi barco. Te estaba esperando, tú conoces dónde y sabes cuándo. Y dime qué quieres conmigo, como yo quiero contigo. Yo no sé por qué me gustas tanto, yo no sé por qué me gustas tanto. Tinder, todas se regalan muy happy, todas las patinetas son penny. El rojo en los ojos te queda bien, dile a tu amiga que te gasta más de 100. Yeah, damn, I kissed the girl, I like it, so cool. Qué bien te ve, Versace, you know. I kissed the girl, I like it, another one.
Muérdeme una y otra vez,
trauma.
Ay, nena, bésame, 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 bésame. Y yo me erizo si me tocas. Envenéname la boca. Ay, dale, bésame, 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 bésame. Sabes que te vuelvo loca, loca, loca.
Mario vi, ella dice que está pa' mí. Sus amigas hablan mal de mí. Dale ahí.
Buenos días, buenos días.
Mario vi, dile Maggie,
¿Cómo están esos ánimos? Bien, espero que muy bien. Iniciando el stream.
Una y otra vez, una y otra vez. Te quiero probar también. Yeah, dale, quita.
En pocos minutos estamos iniciando nuestra segunda sesión del Sublatam. Bienvenidos.
Disculpen la demora, no habíamos perdido en el tiempo. Otro universo, en 2030 y pico. Tropical Minds.
Vamos un poquito levantando esos ánimos.
Estamos quedando con todo el party, todas las Barbie Girls.
Jueves, casi viernes.
Vomitando flow.
Muy bien.
Charlie, my girl, come flip it like a flippergram, flip it like a flippergram. Make your bumper flip like a flippergram, flip it like a flippergram, flip it like a flippergram. You deaf, girl, wind up on my body, girl. Why like it's a carnival, girl? Me love the way you wine for me, girl. Your wine is so emotional, so wind up on my girl. Me why you come wine.
Bienvenidos a todos a la sesión número 2 del Sublatam. Les recuerdo, en esta sesión vamos a hablar con Maggie Burke, Sitecore MVP 2023, experta en todo el tema de Sitecore Personalize y CDP. Hoy nos estará hablando un poco de Sitecore, justamente Personalize y CDP. Real World Uses of Sitecore Personalize. Esta sesión, recordemos, va a ser en inglés también. Muy pronto estamos planificando para tener sesiones en español, al ser Sublatam, Latinoamérica. Así que estén atentos a nuestras siguientes sesiones. Pero bueno, esta es la sesión número 2. Muy buenos días con todos. Buenos días. And good morning. Good morning. We're gonna see that this session we're gonna do in English. And be sure to stay tuned for my Latin American community. We'll have some Spanish content soon. We'll have Maggie joining us in a few seconds, in a few minutes, and we're gonna be starting. But let me talk to you a little bit about her. So, hi, hello everyone. Hello and welcome again. Welcome to Sublatam, Sitecore User Group Latam. Just remembering that this user group exists to share knowledge, to connect Sitecore enthusiasts, Sitecore experts all around Latin America. Join the community. And our topic is What I Learn, I Share. En español, Sublatam existe para compartir conocimiento, conectar entusiastas y expertos de Sitecore y extender la comunidad en Latinoamérica. Lo que aprendo, lo comparto. Y muy bien, en esta ocasión vamos a tener la visita de Maggie Burke. Maggie, we're gonna switch to English now. Switch again to English. So Maggie joined the AmericanEagle.com team in January 2018 and serves in the role of Senior Program Manager. As a program manager at AmericanEagle.com, Maggie has in-depth knowledge of what it takes to create attractive and engaging websites, from planning to execution. Her primary role at AmericanEagle.com is to oversee and manage the Sitecore team's projects from initial sale through project completion, on time and within budget. In addition, in 2023, Maggie was named a Sitecore MVP ambassador and has delivered many award-winning projects with their customers. Maggie's ability to seamlessly connect moving parts throughout the entirety of the project proves her as a valuable asset to the AmericanEagle.com project team. She manages large teams and multiple work streams to deliver quality work in many verticals, from healthcare to e-commerce and more. So, the title of this session is going to be Connecting Your Content Experience, Real-World Uses of Sitecore Personalize and CDP. So as we know, Sitecore Personalize is a very powerful tool. It's been somehow evolving with time. As we know, we had Sitecore Analytics, right? The Sitecore Analytics in the Sitecore console. We could see that we can have a lot of data in the Sitecore analytics part, and also we can do our custom personalizations in there. It's awesome to have a little bit more of this knowledge, and it will be a pleasure with Maggie. We'll soon have her. She's connecting in the next minutes, so we are just waiting for her. We'll be having her. Remember, she has been a Sitecore MVP ambassador, which is a nice recognition that Sitecore gives to the individuals that know how to manage themselves in their areas. She has been given this title, MVP ambassador, in the year 2003, and as I talked to you about, she stands out over other Sitecore project managers. We'll be having her in the next minutes. Don't worry, guys. We're just waiting for her, and we'll be having her in the next minutes. She will be talking about Sitecore Personalize, which is a nice tool that can be also mixed in or synced up with Sitecore CDP, as we all know. This powerful tool allows and offers experience for the clients to connect deeper with your website and optimizes every experience, right? We have A/B testing, we have full stack A/B testing optimizations, we have connected client experiences, identification and practical uses with the website's data, the client's data, marketing in the moment, and surprisingly fast performance. Yes, we'll be talking about this. We'll be talking a little bit about Sitecore CDP as well. And yep, we'll be having Maggie in the next minutes. So it's a pleasure to have everyone here. I can switch a little while to Spanish, I think. Bienvenidos a todos. It's funny when you switch your language. Even your voice tone changes a little bit. I don't know if you guys noticed. The guys that in my Sitecore, in my community, in Latin American community that can speak English, notarán que incluso cambia un poco con la tonalidad, cambia un poco la forma en la que te expresas en los diferentes idiomas. Es bastante interesante. Es bastante curioso, la verdad. Pero bueno, estamos esperando a nuestra guest, que es Maggie Burke. Nos tiene un contenido espectacular, realmente, que nos encanta. Y En los siguientes minutos la vamos a tener. Así es que les dejo con un poquito nuevamente de música, ¿sí? Hasta que sea una Maggie Burke. Bienvenidos de nuevo a todos. Bienvenidos.
My girl, come flip it like a flippergram, flip it like a flippergram. Make your bumper flip like a flippergram, flip it like a flippergram, flip it like a flippergram. You deaf, girl, wind up on my body, girl. Why like it's a carnival? Girl, me love the way you whine for me. Girl, your whine is so emotional. So wind up on my body, girl. Me while you come whine your waistline for me. Baby, you're bubbling, baby. Girl, you a party animal. Girl, you active, no, you no lazy. Girl, you a party animal. To own your wine, you drive me crazy. Girl, you a party animal. You wine so good, you just so good. Girl, me love how you party. She take 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shot, 4. After 9 minutes, she come back for more. She take off the shoes and pound the dance floor. Then she start to broke out like a sword. Then she approach me just like a cure. Me know that she like me tonight, me a score. She sexy, she beautiful and she pure. Tell her you me a do so wind up on my body, girl. Wind up like a carnival. Girl, me love the way you whine for me. Girl, your wine is so emotional. So wind up on my body, girl. Me while you come whine your waistline for me. Baby, you're bubbling, baby. Girl, you a party animal. To own your wine, you drive me crazy. Girl, you a party animal. Girl, you active, no, you no lazy. Girl, you a party animal. You dance so good, you dress so good. Girl, me love how you party. Girl, you think up there. Me no know where you're from, but you think up there. Girl, if God send you to meet me tonight, me a follow you, I'm handing go back up there. No worry about your friends, they're with my friends. After the club, a party, palm me ends. So girl, just flip it like a flippergram, flip it like a flippergram. Right this moment, wind up on my body, girl. Wine just like a carnival. Girl, me love the way you wine for me. Girl, your wine is so emotional. So wind up on my body, girl. Me while you come wine your waistline for me. Baby, you're bubbling, baby. Girl, you a party animal. Girl, you active, no, you no lazy. Girl, you a party animal. To how you wine, you drive me crazy. Girl, you a party animal. You dress so good, you wine so good. Girl, me love how you wine up on my body, girl. Wine just like carnival. Girl, me love the way you wine for me. Emotional body, girl. Me while you come wine your waistline for me.
Hello. Okay, guys, I think we have Maggie now. We are going to switch quickly to her. Hi, welcome, Maggie.
Hi guys, yeah, sorry about the technical difficulties. I was definitely on, but I think for some reason it was showing me as hidden. Not really sure, but thank you for having me.
Yeah, sorry about all the technical difficulties.
No problem at all good. Happy
But it's
be
great
here.
to have you here. I was just telling our audience quickly what we were going to talk about. And I think as the time is gold, we'll continue with the presentation.
All right, great. Well, thank you for having me. Hi, everybody. Just getting started here. I know that we entered a bit, but we'll just kind of talk what the presentation is going to be. So the title of it's Connecting Your Content Experience, Real-World Use Cases for Sitecore Personalize and CDP. So really quickly, just, I know we talked a little bit, but just to give you guys some background about me. Again, I'm a senior Sitecore program manager here at AmericanEagle.com. We're a full service digital agency working all the way from SEO, design services, all the way up to different development and implementation services as well. So I've been here a little bit over 5 years, and I've exclusively worked in our Sitecore department for the entirety of that time. Started out in the project management space, so really have worked on everything from Sitecore upgrades, different implementations, all the way up to full-blown redesigns with our clients. Worked in different verticals as well, from healthcare to different B2B customers, different credit unions, kind of pretty much the full gamut of any different organization that you can think of. And then, as mentioned, I was a Sitecore MVP this year, and I also co-host with my counterpart our Sitecore Water Cooler podcast as well. So be sure to check that out. We'll leave some links for that as well. But going into our presentation, the agenda for today, we're going to focus a little bit on the importance of content strategy. So going a little agnostic from Sitecore at first, just to talk about the processes that we kind of try to go through with our clients and how important it is to have a strong content strategy when it comes to, whether it's a web redesign or if it's just your day-to-day maintenance on your site. The importance of a content strategy is something that you should definitely bring to the forefront of your organization, as well as then just talking about the connection then between that content and personalization and how important it's becoming that personalization is to different organizations and their revenue growth. And then kind of going into then more with Sitecore, what their new SaaS tools are for personalization. So Personalize and CDP, and just kind of tactics for how you can implement that personalization. So we'll talk a little bit about those tools and then just some considerations to take when you're planning out the use of those tools as well. So we'll go in and kind of start with just what is content strategy. So you might be kind of saying to yourself, what is it again? And you hear those words a lot, especially in the web space, but what does it really mean? So content strategy is a comprehensive, data-driven, actionable content master plan that is measured at the intersection of business needs and wants. So the breakdowns for those three paths come down to you kind of receive business direction from your team about increasing revenue. Then you can cater the content around that conversion point. And then you see the metrics increase and decrease based on that success. So if we were to take a look at your website as kind of the body, essentially, it's basically the bone structure. The content is really the flesh and the skin of what's going to breathe life into your website. So understanding the main differences and characteristics of those crucial site pages are really going to help you guys to create targeted content journeys and then targeted personalization that's going to help your website. But with that said, click to the next one here. So with that said, there is such thing as too much content, and that's what we kind of call or refer to as content saturation, because it really does surround us 24/7. So with over 1.2 billion websites that are out there right now, the quantity of actual content that exists in the web space is pretty astronomical. So if you aim to only have a certain quantity of pages and you really focus on a number, you're going to lose that user experience. You're going to lose out on really connecting with the audience that's going to be on your site. So try to focus less on the number and more on the quality of the content that you're creating. And when you kind of look at content strategy through the lens of an experience for your users, the focus is more, again, on the quality of building a foundation for that content and less about the number of pages that you're going to have. So again, when we're talking about content strategy, the biggest thing that you kind of want to break down and understand is those three pillars. So the three pillars are going to be acquisition, engagement, and conversion. So acquisition, it's going to pertain to just purely getting eyeballs on your website. So again, if that's through SEO, through paid campaigns, the examples really are going to be just attracting more visitors to your site through brand and non-brand visibility of your organization, products, things like that. Then you kind of get into engagement, and that pertains more to keeping people then engaged on your website. So again, you get people on your site, but then you need to figure out, well, how am I going to keep them engaged long enough so that they actually convert? And then it goes into conversion. And this, again, is going to pertain to someone ultimately taking action on your website. So whether that's buying a product or if that's just filling out a form so that they can be contacted, there's different ways of conversion that can be seen, but that's ultimately the end goal, right? So some, if not all of you on here may believe that conversion is the most important because it seems like the obvious choice, right? You ultimately want people to be converting on your website. But the thing to remember is that you aren't going to get people to that conversion point without putting effort into acquisition and engagement. So there's a few areas that you can look at strategically when creating your content that will lend itself to those 3 areas so that you can make sure that there is proper attention on all of them so that, again, you're ultimately getting to that conversion point. And one thing that's pretty interesting is that organizations with high content agility report that over 5 times better in customer experience and 3 times better business results. So again, if you're really putting focus into the content that's on your site and making sure that you're staying on top of it, it's going to produce better experience for your clients and overall better business results for your team in general. And so one of the ways to do that is to actually go through and organize your content. So again, I know this can look very tedious, of course, and it's one of those things that can be seen as, somewhat of a burden. You have a million things going on during the day, and it's hard to kind of keep up with all of your content, but it is really crucial and important to do. And it can help your content team to make sure that you're keeping up to date. And one of the things we talk about is the keep, update, and retire methodology. So essentially, when you're doing an audit, you should probably try to stick to doing a content audit 6 months to a year to every year, just to make sure that you're keeping your content up to date on the site. And it's not overloading the user with a bunch of information. So when we're talking about that keep, update, and retire methodology, we're talking more along the lines of doing, just a site scan of your website. So you can do that through any SEO tools, and basically getting a sitemap of all the content pages that exist on your site right now. And then going through the actual process of then saying, okay, what pages are we going to keep? What pages are ones that are absolutely not going to go away? What pages are valuable, but they need to be tweaked? So let's mark those as pages that we're going to update. And then what pages can we ultimately remove? Again, a lot of organizations go through the process of doing marketing campaigns, where they're creating different landing pages and things like that. And then those pages become stale and they're not really needed anymore, but they add bulk to your website and people can still find them through search tools and things like that. And it might end up causing more confusion than good. So you should definitely try to get rid of those pages, as well as then the pages that you are going to keep, making sure that they're up to date, whether that's just up to date information on like a privacy policy page or an about us page or something like that. Or if maybe you're finding out over time when you're looking into your SEO that there's different keywords that you should be using and things like that, that's where you can kind of apply that update methodology. So this is just an example of one of the sites that we worked with. It was a healthcare organization that had over 6,000 public content pages. And when we went through this process with them, again, tedious, but it was definitely worth it. We got them down to 2,000 pages. So it made a lot more clean and concise of a website, and it made it easier for people to find the information that they were actually looking for. So that's a little bit about the, content strategy, and again, just the importance of it. But then you can also then take that content into driving personalized experiences. So that's what we're going to talk a little bit about now. So going into it, just a few kind of like statistics for you guys to understand. So customers have high expectations, right? I mean, we live in a digital world these days. So a large part, it's driven by their experiences that they have on Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon, the big dogs out there. But they expect businesses to recognize them as individuals and know their unique interests. They really do expect one-to-one marketing because they're just so used to it now with other, organizations that are out there. Another statistic as well is that 90% of customers are seeing that customers want to have just a single conversation, but 90% of customers expect consistent interactions across all channels. And so making things even more challenging is the fact that today's customer, they're on the move. The consumer journey is more fractured than ever before. So just consider that this study from Google, which found that today's customer journey can have people touching between 20 to 500 touch points, depending on the complexity of the purchase and across multiple different devices. So even with all these touch points and devices, customers still want to just have that one conversation with brands. They don't care what touch point they're at. They want to know that the site that they're on knows who they are. So they expect that kind of one-to-one personalized experience, and they want it to be consistent. And so then going into another statistic, 59% of consumers feel like companies have really lost that human touch and that element of experience. So this came from a recent PwC study that shows that, and it means that customers are feeling disconnected from brands that really need to focus on courting their customers and forming an authentic and real connection. And brands, again, can really do this through their content and through personalization. And this was just another interesting piece. And I'll kind of go through these statistics quickly, just because I know we want to get to some of the Sitecore Personalize and CDP stuff. But, when Sitecore recently partnered with the Content Marketing Institute to do a survey on content management and efforts and strategies, the ability to understand and connect with the audience's values, interests, and pain points was really probably one of the biggest ones. And that's where we'll get into a little bit later what you can do with CDP, the customer data platform, because then you're, again, getting that information and allowing yourselves to then cater your content to that piece as well. And then one other kind of statistic as well is just that 70% of customer journeys are based on how the customer feels they're being treated across the touch points as well. So again, the focus is about personalizing, but also making sure that you're personalizing across the different touch points and across different devices as well. And that's kind of the nice thing that comes along with Personalize and CDP is that you don't have to have it connected directly to your CMS. You can have it connected through email or connected through a mobile app so that you can make sure that you're hitting these different touch points across the different devices. And then the other piece too is just, using personalization to really close that empathy gap. Personalization allows you to create that one-to-one connection. So showing content that will resonate and that people are interested in are going to close that gap and make them more likely, again, to stay on the website and to convert. So this is going to make your customer feel loved and heard, and they're going to continue to kind of grow trust in your brand. And so one of the things, just to kind of summarize it, is just to make sure to get to know your customers and create the necessary artifacts and collect the appropriate data. So that's, again, what we're going to talk about when we go into CDP. But when collecting data, make sure to think about that the data is relevant to your business and not just what others are doing, but something that's actually going to, create ROI for your business. When using emotion to create authentic engagement, remember that certain emotions can drive certain actions too. So if you're trying to get people to, again, fill out a form or click on a specific CTA, think about the emotions that you're trying to generate out of those people. And that can kind of play into, again, the content that you're creating and then the personalization that you're creating around that content. And then for any brand to be truly successful and efficient when it comes to content creation, technology is key in terms of just ensuring brand consistency and helping teams create and operate efficiently, and then giving them the time to focus on content, emotion, and storytelling. So again, a lot of this stuff can be automated in ways so that it can help kind of make things faster for your team and take less of a manual burden on the team as well. So just really think about how personalization can benefit the customer and then also your team's organization. I think I've gone through a bit about just kind of, again, how personalization can really kind of connect with your customers, but just, again, reiterating that it maintains loyalty, it helps you guys become memorable, it inspires action, and then it humanizes your brand and builds those connections with people. So again, focusing on your content first, but then focusing on that personalization strategy is really going to help your team grow. And then this might be a question that all of you guys are asking now, but it's like, okay, that's great. Like we have all this information, but what do we do with it? What can we do to actually get started? And so you want to think about personalization in 3 different ways, because there's a few different types of personalization that you can kind of go through. So there is 3 types: implicit, contextual, and implicit personalization. And explicit is just pretty much your standard personalization. It's information that's given or provided by the visitor. So this is, information provided in form fills. It could be their previous visit history, buying history, etc. Then there's contextual personalization, and that's a known data point about the visitor that could influence a visitor's interest. So again, an example can be like GOP information and things like that, GOIP, so that then, based on their location, you're giving them contextual personalization. The other one is implicit, which is monitoring visitor behavioral activity to take into account interest and change over time. So, this can be seen as like recommended articles based on a previous topic that they read, or product recommendations in similar category or previous purchase. So this might be stuff that's not directly correlated to what they filled in on the website, but just kind of their behavior on the site in general. So when it comes to kind of planning it out, the biggest thing to focus on is to start with your target audiences. So start to kind of build out the personas and for your website. And it's important to think beyond just the typical user, as there will be other members coming to your site that you want to make sure have a positive experience. So it's best to stay around, I would say, 5 to 7 personas, just to make sure that you have your key audiences and that you're not getting too granular. Because if you have too many key target audiences or too many personas that you're trying to accommodate to on your site, you're not going to accommodate to any of them, because there's just too many that are going on. So try to stick between 5 to 7. And then this will open up the opportunity to start thinking about specific goals someone in this persona bucket would be looking to achieve, while also trying to call out some of the pain points that they might be facing on your website, and things that you can help alleviate on your site, because it's pain points that you feel like they're maybe running into, or maybe you're hearing about it in customer feedback. So once you have personas created, you can start to create a set of journey maps specific to the desired path for that user. So these are, again, from that healthcare example, just some of the ones that we created, a patient, a visitor, different people that are, again, going to be going to a hospital website. And then once you've created those target audiences, you can start to kind of consider what the journey maps are going to look like. So within those journey maps, you can begin to define your persona path from awareness through conversion, while also keying in on retention. How are you going to get those people back to the site, and how to ensure that, they're going to keep coming back to your site, and they're not going to just be, bounced off the site and never come back. So filling out these journey maps will help your team to kind of understand how to create a target audience, but then also to how they would become aware of your website, and then how to engage them. So again, it goes back to that acquisition, engagement, and conversion piece as well. The other thing that's really interesting when you create these journey maps is that you get to understand maybe some entry and exit requirements that are going to be broken down on a page level, and where these personas will likely be consuming their content. So this is going to help you to kind of map where your personalization should be on your website to increase your chances of converting. So you can tie this into that strategic sitemap that we were talking about that comes out of that content audit. And then again, start mapping out some of your personalization pieces and then act on it and create some of those personalization pieces with Sitecore CDP and Personalize. So speaking of that, we'll kind of go in now to talking a little bit about Sitecore CDP and Personalize, and just kind of what those tools are. So again, I've talked to you guys now about the importance of content strategy, and then how you can take that content into a personalization plan. But now Sitecore actually specifically has tools that you can purchase that are specific to collecting customer data and then personalizing your content. So we'll kind of go through those now. So talking a little bit about what are they? So what is Sitecore CDP and Personalize? So customer data platform is a packaged software that creates a persistent, unified customer database that is accessible to other systems. So Sitecore CDP is a really powerful headless tool that captures and unifies and activates omni-channel customer data. So again, it doesn't have to just be on your website. And it helps marketers to really increase conversion rates and then deliver a really exceptional experience for your customers. But then Sitecore Personalize on the other side activates your data across all customer touchpoints to create seamless and consistent customer experiences. So again, you kind of take what you're gathering in CDP and you can act on it with then utilizing Personalize. So I will mention they don't have to be something that you use together. We have plenty of clients that right off the bat just say, we just want to use Personalize. Like we don't necessarily need to be collecting customer data right now. We just want to be able to based off of what we understand from our customers, we want to just personalize certain content from there. So they might start out with Personalize and then grow into something like CDP, where now you're really collecting data based off of your customers and feel like you're really getting a better understanding of where they're entering and where they're exiting pages and who they are and what kind of information that you have on them so that you can personalize those experiences. So going into then just CDP in general, with a tool like CDP, you're really combining 3 pillars to help raise your number of visitors, conversion, and then overall revenue. So it allows you to take the understanding of the customer and optimize their experience through personalization using that data that was collected. So CDP has those key capabilities that we'll talk about here, which is really just breaking down into the customer understanding. So understanding every user and uncovering trends with data-powered customer and journey insights. So, again, you're really understanding what the users are doing on your website, but then also experience optimization. And that comes out of Personalize. So optimizing every customer interaction with omni-channel A/B testing, decisioning, and personalization. And then there's also data activation, where you can fuel omni-channel personalization with customer insights to deliver an unrivaled customer experience. So again, this is where you're taking it through beyond just your website and being able to do this on multiple facets of your organization and your web presence. So then kind of going into some of the key capabilities, and I'm sure we'll be probably sending out this deck after, so I won't go through all of them, but just some of the ones that are key are just in the measurement and reporting area. So you can, track the engagement, conversion, and revenue lift, which is going to be really important because, again, there's only so much you can do on a website without actually tracking some of the metrics, and it allows you guys to have continuous improvement. There's also testing and optimization. So it comes with out-of-the-box recommendations as well. So it's a powerful tool to have, as well as decisioning and AI. So it does come with machine learning models along with drag and drop decision models to help set up if-then statements for personalization. So it's a powerful tool as well because you can set up if the user does this, then show this. And it's really just drag and drop. It's very easy for marketers to use. And again, set up just kind of those tests that you want to run with different, whether it's pop-ups, alerts, whatever it is, along with just, again, strong data and analytics to support your initiatives and decisioning. So, going back to what I mentioned before about measurement and reporting, the only way that you're going to continuously improve is with just measurable data and analytics that comes to play when it comes to CDP. And then just kind of talking here, again, just blending both of them. So CDP is going to give you that customer data, but then Personalize is going to really allow you to create experiences, to test out different things that you're setting up, set up those decisioning models, again, for those if-then statements. And then it also is going to give you AI recommendations. So they're really powerful tools together. They can be used separately. Like I said, we have plenty of clients that just start out using Personalize so they can get used to the system. And then they go ahead and purchase CDP, or vice versa. Maybe you want to gather the data first with CDP and really get a better understanding of your clients before you are purchasing something like Personalize, where then you can actually act upon that data. So they are agnostic and you don't have to purchase them together, the licensing together, but they are powerful together. So then just wanting to go into some considerations. So like I mentioned, we've implemented this with a few different clients. So we've learned some kind of real world use cases and considerations to make. Going back to what I was saying earlier, it's not only meant to be used with the Sitecore CMS, which is really nice because legacy Sitecore did have, their different experience marketing tools were a part of that suite. So you had to get the full stack to really benefit from their marketing analytics and things like that. It's no longer like that. Personalize and CDP are completely separate tools. So even if you don't have Sitecore as a CMS, you can purchase those tools and use them with any different gamut of CMSs, or even just specifically with mobile apps, email channels, etc. So they're made to be completely agnostic and do not need to be purchased with Sitecore in general, like the CMS side of things. And then the planning and editing experience is going to be a little bit different than Sitecore XP. I've found that I prefer it. And then it's definitely much more powerful and flexible. It's a lot more intuitive for marketers to use. So just showing here some of the examples. So it does come with out-of-the-box templates, and whether it's pop-ups, overlays, different banners and things like that. And there are things, like I said, they come out of the box, but there is going to be some step for people to be able to extend the different out-of-the-box templates that it comes with, because maybe you need the pop-up to do something a little bit differently than what it comes with. So it's kind of because it's a nice stepping stone for people to have these out-of-the-box components to use in these different personalized tools. But it allows you to kind of then think a little bit about, okay, but let's cater this specifically to our organization. And so this is just kind of a snippet of some of the ones that it comes with out of the box. And then the other thing to consider when you're going through setting up Personalize is, where do you want the content to be managed? So we've had a number of different clients that will want it to be in different spots. So out of the box, it can be done in Personalize, and some clients really just want to keep the entire personalization path and editing in one area. So they want to just keep it all in Personalize. But the other side of it is that it can be done directly in Sitecore. So we've set up that connection before where it's set up in Sitecore XM, because remember, you're migrating off of XP at this point because you no longer need the experience marketing suite. So you'd be on XM. We've had it set up where the content is created in Sitecore XM, because then people that are used to doing content in Sitecore, so whether, again, it's your marketers, your content authors, whoever it is on your team, they might just be used to updating the content in Sitecore. So you can actually create that connection where the content for those pop-ups, those alert banners and things like that are just edited directly in Sitecore. So it's just something to consider. It's really optimal both ways. So it's more of just a business decision at that point of, what do you think that your team that's going to ultimately be updating these is going to prefer? Because, they can select and make all of the decisions around the personalization in Personalize, but would they ultimately rather be updating the content in Sitecore? So just something to consider. And then this is just a snippet of just kind of how to plan. So, again, I know it's tedious, but planning around any project is extremely critical. It really sets up the foundation for any project, any site you're going to be doing. And so actually going through the process of asking the questions of what you're trying to personalize, or how you're going to do it, or how you're going to effectively do it. Are you going to use Personalize? Are you going to use CDP? Are you going to use both for certain scenarios? It's just important to know that stuff first, because then you're not having your developers or your content team spin their wheels just trying to kind of figure it out on the go. So there are certain things and certain, just tactical spreadsheets and things like that you can go through to just sort of plan it all out. So then really, once it gets to it, all you're doing at that point is implementing what you've already planned out. So definitely something to make sure that you're, considering as you're going through, because it will ultimately help your team move and streamline a little bit faster. Like I said, it'll be tedious in the beginning, but it's something that I promise will definitely be beneficial to your team. And then it'll be easier once you do it once to then just kind of add any sort of new goals or new personalization plans that you want to do. So before we kind of wrap up here, I want to get into the use cases. So one of the clients that we work with is United Airlines. They have a website that, again, what I mentioned before, they were using Sitecore XP. They migrated off of that and are on Sitecore XM and using Personalize and CDP now. But they want to perform similar scenarios to what they were doing on XP. So the use case is the personalization slideshow that they have. So this right here is just an image, a quick snapshot of what a CDP profile would look like for somebody at United Airlines. So you can see here, we've obviously blocked out some of the information, but just things like what kind of, employee type they are, if they're full-time or part-time, what their job title is, things like that. Obviously, like their name in areas like that. So stuff that you can personalize off of. So this is what CDP is going to collect for you. And then you can kind of create those personalization goals off of that. So this was one of the things that they collected for United Airlines. And then one of the things inside of their intranet, so their employee only use, is this carousel. And it basically pops up on their intranet page. And this right here is just a snippet of what the carousel looks like just for any user. But then you can take it again one step further and go into creating a little bit more of a personalized experience for the employees that are coming onto the site. So this is just, again, a snippet of them going through and deciding how to personalize it within CDP and Personalize. So they're picking the carousel item, and then the person kind of goes through and says, okay, page targeting, like this is where we want this personalization to happen. And this is like where we plan to do it. And this is where, there's powerful areas where you can select if it's equal to, if it has similar wording or anything like that to. So if you have like a bunch of web pages, maybe you want to just put the directory in there and, you're not planning on just doing like one page. You don't have to set this up for every single web page. You can set it up for an entire directory and just change that match. And so then they also went through and selected their audience type. So they want the personalization to appear for employees and vendors or vendors. And then they're also, like I was mentioning, they decided to keep their content within Personalize. So then now they're actually able to update that template directly in Personalize. So they can select the image, they can select if they want the title to link to anything, they can select the title, the body, etc. And then this is ultimately what it looks like then. And so this is basically a signed-in user coming in and saying, okay, so now they can actually show specific employees, hey, here's information that just pertains to you, so that they're not necessarily having to dig within their intranet to find the information that they're looking for. It can say, hey, we know you're an employee. We know that you're under this title. We know that, you might be looking for X content. And then they can personalize that carousel around it. And then one other area too, and this hasn't been rolled out yet, but will be, is their digital signage. So I'm sure plenty of you have been in airports before where you're walking around and you're seeing the digital signage all throughout the airport, whether it's, above the ticketing agent, or there might be these larger screens that are throughout the airport. But one of the things that United was looking for was how can we start maximizing on personalization and CDP within the just digital signs throughout our airport. So again, not their website, their digital signage. And so in interest of time, I have a little bit of a video to show it, but I can just kind of talk through. So one of the areas that's going to be done is it's mapping CDP and understanding, if say a flight's going to Orlando and the ticketing agent knows, okay, we have a lot of people that are on our website and or we have a lot of people that are on this flight, but it's a majority of kids because maybe they're all going to Disney World. So they're going to actually portray different signage on the screen that alludes to, hey, you can watch videos on this flight, or maybe they're going to play a video at the gate because they know that there's a lot of children at the gate and they're a little rambunctious and they want to, help the parents out and give them a fun video to watch or something like that. So there's different areas that they're collecting in CDP that then are going to be that the ticketing agents have control of then what shows up on the actual digital signage. And so whether, like I said, it's just that they know, maybe it's that they know that, X amount of people checked bags on the flight. So now they're able to display earlier, hey, if you're in X rows, like we need you to check your bag, because nothing is worse than getting on a flight and then finding out that you have to turn around and bring your bag to the front because there's no more baggage space up above. So this is another area just to talk through the powers of CDP and Personalize that doesn't pertain just to the website, but can be a little bit more specific to omnichannel. So like I said, I think we'll be sharing some of this. So I do have a screen recording of what I was just talking through that you guys are, open to watch. But again, then just talking through as we wrap up, 40% of the average revenue lift experienced by companies that personalize effectively. So if you're personalizing, it's been proven that it can increase the revenue lift on your website by 40%. And so it's definitely one of those things to think about then when you talk about unlocking marketing and how you want to do that. And that's where you can use something like CDP to really just listen to the people that are on your site, profile unification, real-time audiences, and analytics. But then you can get into Sitecore Personalize and just really think about how you're going to use it with decisioning and experimentation, and then just responding and actually setting up that personalization and whatnot. So as we kind of wrap up here, I just kind of wanted to, do some key takeaways that we have from our session today. So content strategy, really just kind of understanding what it means and understanding what avenues to pull the information from to create. And then the other one to kind of keep in mind as well is then content governance, and really just auditing your content on a regular basis to keep things consistent and concise, but then utilizing planning tools such as some of those, spreadsheets that I was showing you guys and things like that to really help connect the strategic dots around content creation. But then also content marketing and personalization, and really how you're going to step forward with that. So understanding the importance of a well-balanced personalization, but then leveraging planning around those target audiences, user journeys, as well as your personalization to just help generate that content overall. And then ultimately being able to use these powerful tools like Sitecore, CDP, and Personalize to help you really take your website into the future. So with that, I want to thank all of you guys. I know that was kind of long-winded and was trying to get through as many of the slides as possible. Vladimir, I'll turn it over to you. I know that we said we were going to have a Q&A session. I don't know if I'll have much time to stay on for that. But I will send this over to you if you want to send it out to the attendees that were on today. It does include my email and everything like that on there. So any questions or anything that do come up, or if you just are interested in hearing more about some of these topics and things like that, I'd be more than happy to kind of answer those questions.
All right. Yeah. No, thank you very much, Maggie, for your presentation. It was amazing how the in-depth can give us more knowledge about Sitecore Personalize and CDP. And yeah, absolutely, we'll be sharing every content that you have given us. And wrapping up, thank you very much for your presence, for your time. And we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate being here, and happy to meet with all of you. Thanks, everybody. Thank
you so much. Okay, so thanks to everyone that has been part of this session number 2. We see that there are some questions in the chat. We'll be handling them to Maggie directly, and she'll be sure to answer them by email or by Sitecore Slack. This has been awesome. We're going to keep doing more of these sessions on Sitecore User Group Latam. Also, if you're a Sitecore developer, if you're a Sitecore enthusiast, and you want to talk about your topic, remember, you can always be part of these sessions. Just contact us at Superlatam in LinkedIn or on YouTube. You can put a comment on there. You know, nowadays there's so many channels that we can connect through. Gracias a todos por conectarse en esta sesión. Gracias por estar con nosotros, acompañándonos, y estén atentos a nuestras siguientes sesiones. Y sin más que decirles, muchas gracias.
Dime, ¿qué carajo fue lo que me hiciste? Son las 6 AM y quiero dormirme ya, pero no he podido desde que te fuiste. Que tú me hiciste. Hey ma, ¿cómo te saco de aquí? Llego a la disco y solo pienso en ti. Lo que hicimos yo lo quiero olvidar. Con otra pero no sabe igual. ¿Pa' qué te voy a mentir? Ando con pueblo pero pienso en ti. Lo que hicimos no lo quiero olvidar. Lo quiero repetir, baby. Estás perdida, ¿qué vas a hacer hoy? Te vi puesta para el gino, para el vacilón. Baby, tú eras real, las otras plástico. Pusiste hasta liendra, hablar romántico. Te pienso todos los días. Uno no cambia un Mercedes por un Kia. Sé que cagué la relación, mala mía. Baby, no sé pa' qué peleamos si podemos estar haciendo groserías. Condado